Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today's Saturday, March 2nd, 2019. I apologize for all the noise while I record this podcast in advance. Today, I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL and spring training games. Look ahead to tomorrow's slate in each of those sports. Talk about Bryce Harper signing with the Phillies, since I forgot to get to it on yesterday's podcast, and discuss some turmoil going on with the San Francisco Giants involving their CEO. All right, the college basketball we go. Small slate last night. Just going to go over the results because I'm short on time. No records, no nothing, just results. And then I'm going to pick the games for Saturday and Sunday because I am not doing a Sunday podcast. Columbia beats Brown 80-77. Bowling Green beats Kent State 77-72. Rhode Island beats Dayton 72-70 in overtime. Quinnipiac over St. Peter's 77-60. Yale over Cornell 88-65. Princeton over Dartmouth 77-76 in overtime. Harvard beats Penn 53-59 or whatever. Iona defeats Rider 86-79. Monmouth over Manhattan 62-54. Fairfield over Marist 59-44. Florida Gulf Coast over Jacksonville, 77-74. Liberty over NJIT, 57-51. Lipscomb over North Alabama, 87-75. Kennesaw State over Stetson, 83-82. Number 21, Buffalo over Miami of Ohio, 77-69. Big win for Buffalo. And Canisius over Siena, 68-62. Today's games at 11 o'clock, you have Binghamton at Maine, 12 o'clock on Fox. Number 6, Michigan State at Indiana. Trap game for the Spartans, yes indeed. But they're going to get it done. They're going to win by double digits on the road against a bad Indiana team. ESPN number 13, LSU at Alabama. LSU is a 1.5 favorite. LSU is quietly in play for a number 1 seed, and I think they win and they cover against the Bama team that NCAA chances are slipping. But obviously if they win this game, then they get another big win to put themselves in a good position. Number 15, Kansas at Oklahoma State. Kansas is a 7-point favorite. They'll win and cover. They've been playing a little better of late, other than the Texas Tech loss. ESPN 2, NC State at number 18, Florida State. FSU 7.5-point favorites. I think FSU wins, but NC State covers. I just think this game's going to be closer than the experts think. Syracuse at Wake Forest on the ACC network. Syracuse is favored by 7.5. I think Syracuse wins and covers. Army at Bucknell. Navy at Boston College. Colgate at Lafayette. American at Holy Cross. 1 o'clock Big Ten Network. Penn State at number 19, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's favored by 7.5 points at home. I think they're going to win and cover because Penn State's just due for a poor game. The Citadel at VMI. Northern Kentucky at Green Bay. SEC Network. Ole Miss at Arkansas. Arkansas is favored by 1 point. The better team is the Rebels, and I think they'll get the win on the road, and they need it too. New Hampshire at UMBC. Fordham at Davidson. Davidson's a 13-point favorite. I think they win and cover. They're just a better team than Fordham. Fairleigh Dickinson at Central Connecticut State. Little Rock at Georgia State. Pitt at number 2, Virginia. Virginia's favored by 19 points. I think they're going to win and cover. They're just better than Pitt. CBS, number 4, Kentucky at number 7, Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 3. These two teams, I think, are fairly even. I know Kentucky crushed Tennessee at Rupp in their first meeting, but I think Tennessee's looking for sweet revenge. The winner of this game, in all likelihood, will be a 1 seed, and I think the winner of this game will be the Tennessee Volunteers. Although, I did just make the statement the winner of this game gets a 1 seed, but that's for now, because you never know what could happen in the SEC tournament, as we all know. ESPN, Ohio State at number 14, Purdue. Purdue's favored by 12. I think they're going to win and cover. They've been playing very well of late. Number 24, Wofford at Sanford. Wofford's favored by 9. I think they win and cover. UMass at Duquesne. Duquesne's favored by 6.5. I think Duquesne wins and covers. Alana at Towson. On Fox at 2 o'clock, Butler at Villanova. Nova's favored by 7.5. And I think Nova wins, but Butler covers. It's been that kind of year in the Big East. ESPN 2, Iowa State at Texas. Iowa State's a 1-point favorite. They have to win this game, and I think they will, and they'll cover too. ESPN U, West Virginia at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 10.5. They'll win, and they'll cover. Ohio at Akron, Northern Iowa at Indiana State, CBS Sports Network, Illinois State at Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is a 6-point favorite. That's a big number. I think Illinois State covers, but Southern Illinois wins. Evansville at Valparaiso, Furman at Chattanooga, Coastal Carolina at UL Monroe, Radford at Campbell, 3 o'clock Longwood at Gardner-Webb, Texas Arlington at Troy, Omaha at Denver, New Mexico State at Chicago State, NBCSN George Mason at St. Louis. St. Louis is favored by 5.5. I think St. Louis wins, but George Mason covers. Eastern Michigan at Northern Illinois, 3:30 St. Francis, Pennsylvania at Sacred Heart. CBS Sports Network, South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri is a 3-point favorite at home. I think they'll win and cover because I don't trust the Gamecocks on the road. 4 o'clock CBS, Miami at number 3 Duke. Duke's favored by 16. I think Miami actually covers this game and keeps it somewhat competitive. I do not think Zion Williamson will be back for this. So I'm going to say that Miami covers, but Duke obviously wins by double digits, but closer to 10 rather than 16. ESPN UCF at number 8 Houston. Houston's favored by 7.5. Game day is surprisingly in Houston this week. That is a huge, huge deal for that school who never gets attention. So that's twice in the past couple months where game day has originated shows from AAC schools. In football, we had them at UCF against Cincinnati. And then now in basketball, we have them at Houston against, ironically enough, UCF. I think Houston's going to win and cover. They're the best team in the American Athletic Conference. And I think there's a chance that they get to Selection Sunday with only one loss. But it's a slim chance because they have to go to Cincinnati, and that's a tough place to play. And that's next weekend. Number 11, Texas Tech at TCU. TCU is a 3.5-point underdog here. I think they're desperate here for a win. I think they'll get one. And obviously cover the 3.5. So, underdog, the win out right there. Mississippi State at Auburn. Auburn's a 5-point favorite at home. I think Mississippi State covers and Auburn wins. Loyola Marymount at San Francisco. San Francisco's an 8-point favorite. I think they win, but Marymount covers. Hofstra at Delaware. Wilmington at Charleston. Northeastern at Drexel. William & Mary at James Madison. Mount St. Mary's at St. Francis Brooklyn. Robert Morris at Wagner. Northern Arizona at Montana State. St. Bonaventure at George Washington. Bonaventure's a 6.5-point favorite. Bonaventure's 8-2 in their last 10 games. Their run in the A-10 of late has been sensational. If they didn't have a poor outside of conference record, then they'd be in play for an at-large. This run has been sensational by them. They'll win. They'll cover. I think they do win this one by double digits. VCU at Richmond. VCU's favored by 6.5. That's another double-digit win in the bank on CBS Sports Network. So give me VCU to win and cover. Western Carolina and East Tennessee State. Hampton at South Carolina. Upstate Charleston Southern at Presbyterian. UIC at Detroit Mercy. IPI at Oakland. South Carolina State at Bethune-Cookman. Drake at Missouri State. Morgan State at Delaware State. Florida A&M at NCAT. 4:15 Tennessee Tech at Eastern Illinois. 4:30 Tennessee State at UT Martin. New Orleans at Nichols. High Point UNC Asheville. UNC Greensboro Mercer. Bryant at LIU Brooklyn. North Dakota at South Dakota. Ball State at Western Michigan. Toledo at Central Michigan. Toledo's a 1-point favorite. These two teams are combined 42-14. I like Central Michigan at home. I just think that the home team should be favored here by at least 2 points. But I do think it's a close one. So give me Central Michigan to win out right there. 5 o'clock Big Ten Network. Rutgers at number 22 Iowa. Iowa's favored by 8.5. I think Iowa wins and covers. Albany at Hartford. NBCSN 5 o'clock. LaSalle at St. Joe's. St. Joe's is a 5.5-point favorite. Neither of these teams have been playing that well of late. I'm going to take St. Joe's to win, but LaSalle to cover. North Dakota State at Purdue Fort Wayne. Northwestern State at Southeast Louisiana. Arkansas State at Georgia Southern. Abilene Christian at Central Arkansas. Portland State at Eastern Washington. 5:15 Western Illinois South Dakota State. 5:30 Jackson State at Mississippi Valley State. Stephen F. Austin at Lamar. 6 o'clock ESPN. Number 5 North Carolina at Clemson. UNC is a 4-point favorite. I'm going to take the Tar Heels to win and cover. They're the better team, and they've been on a roll. They're a dark horse to get a 1 seed. ESPN2 at 6 o'clock. Bradley at Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago is a 7.5-point favorite. I think that number is way too big. I'm going to take them to win, but Bradley to barely cover. Cleveland State at Youngstown State. Texas Southern at Alabama State. Air Force at Wyoming. Air Force is a 2-point favorite. I am taking them to win and cover. Jacksonville State at SAU Edwardsville. Howard at Savannah State. Cornell at Brown. ESPNU, Utah, Colorado. Colorado is a 6-point favorite. That's too much. I'm taking Colorado to win, but Utah to cover. SEC Network, Vanderbilt at Texas A&M. A&M is a 6.5-point favorite. I am taking A&M to win and cover. CBS Sports Network at 6:30. Seton Hall, Georgetown. Georgetown's a 2-point favorite. This is probably a play-in game. It comes down to who do I trust more, Kevin Willard or Patrick Ewing, and I trust Kevin Willard more. So give me Seton Hall to win as a 2-point underdog on the road. Coppin State and Norfolk State. Alcorn State and Southern. 7 o'clock. Prairie View at Alabama A&M. Columbia at Yale. Princeton at Harvard. Penn at Dartmouth. Lehigh at Loyola, Maryland. Wright State at Milwaukee. Moore State at Eastern Kentucky. Pac-12 Network. Washington State at Cal. It's a pick 'em. I'm taking Washington State on the road. Cal is a letdown after the big win over Washington. Stony Brook at Vermont. Texas Rio Grande at UMKC. 8 o'clock ESPN2. Baylor at number 16 Kansas State. Kansas State's a 6.5-point favorite. I am taking Kansas State to win and cover, although Baylor really can use this game as well. ESPNU, Memphis at number 23 Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 9.5-point favorite. I'm taking Cincy to win, but Memphis to cover just because I think Memphis has been playing pretty well of late. Texas State at South Alabama. UC Irvine at UC Riverside. Pacific at Pepperdine. Belmont at Southeast Missouri State. Austin Peay at Murray State. McNeese at Houston Baptist. Incarnate Word hosts Texas A&M Corpus Christi. 8:30 on CBS Sports Network. Number 12 Nevada at Utah State. Nevada's a 1.5-point favorite on the road. I'm going to take Utah State to pull this out at home. They need it more in terms of an at-large bid. I think Nevada's safely in the field no matter what. I am taking Utah State to win at home as their fans will storm the court in Provo. Grambling at Arkansas Pine Bluff. SEC Network, Georgia at Florida. Florida State by 11.5. They're going to win and cover. 9 o'clock San Diego at BYU. BYU is a 5.5-point favorite. I'm taking BYU to win, but San Diego to cover. Idaho State at Northern Colorado. Southern Utah at Montana. Cal State Bakersfield at Grand Canyon. 10 o'clock ESPN. Number 1 Gonzaga at St. Mary's. Gonzaga's favored by 9.5. I think they win and cover. They're so good. And I don't get why I see St. Mary's on the bubble. I don't think they have a shot at an at-large. They need to win the West Coast Conference Tournament. That is a one big league. I don't get the St. Mary's hype in Joe Lunardi's bracket. Utah Valley at Cal Baptist. Sacramento State at Idaho. Arizona at Oregon. Oregon's favored by 4.5. I am taking Oregon to win and cover. I like how they looked against Arizona State the other day. And there's obviously turmoil with the Wildcats and Sean Miller and all that. CSU Fullerton and UC Davis. Santa Clara at Portland. Cal Poly at Long Beach State. ESPNU, Colorado State, New Mexico. New Mexico is a 1.5 favorite. I think they win. And they cover. San Jose State at San Diego State. San Diego State's laying 20.5. They'll win and cover. 10:30 CBS Sports Network. Boise State at UNLV. UNLV is a 2-point favorite. I think they win and cover. I don't get why that number's so low. And overnight you have Cal State Northridge at Hawaii. NBA, again, just going to do results. Bulls over Hawks, 168-161, quadruple overtime. This is the first quadruple overtime game in some time, and it really is crazy that I was watching this game and it looked like these two teams wanted to lose rather than wanting to win. But ultimately the Bulls were the ones who won the game on paper and on the score sheet. And the Hawks, really, that was a smart L if you're trying to tank. Hornets over Brooklyn, 123-112. Charlotte with the big win to keep themselves in a good spot in terms of the playoff race in the East. Brooklyn, bad loss. I think that's a team that just was hot for a while and but I don't believe in that team anymore. I think there's a chance they slip out of the playoffs entirely if they lose to teams like Charlotte, Miami, Orlando down the stretch. Raptors beat the Trailblazers 119-117. Kawhi Leonard with the game winner with 1.5 seconds to go after Kyle Lowry fouled Damian Lillard on a three-point attempt, which initially tied that game at 117 apiece. The Celtics defeat the Wizards 107-96 to end their four-game losing streak. The Pelicans defeat the Suns 130-116. So the Suns still have the worst record in the league. The Clippers defeat the Kings 116-109 to keep their 8th seed or playoff seed intact. And the Bucks defeat the Lakers 131-120, and a brutal loss for the Lakers as the Clippers gain a game on them. Today's games, all night games, no day games. 5 o'clock, you have the Pistons at the Cavaliers. 7 o'clock, the Magic at the Pacers. 7:30, the Nets at the Heat. 8:30, ABC. Warriors, 76ers. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson on the call. Should be a good one. Golden State's favored by 5. I think they're going to win and they're going to cover. Their whole team's playing. Kevin Durant's going to play. Boogie's going to play. Clay's going to play. They're all going to play. Joel Embiid's going to play for Philly. But I just think that the Warriors, this is a revenge spot for them after they lost to them at home not that long ago. So give me Warriors to win and cover. Grizzlies at Mavericks. Thunder at the Spurs. 9 o'clock, the Pelicans at the Nuggets. The Lakers at the Suns. And the Bucks at the Jazz. NHL. The Canadiens defeat the Rangers 4-2, a big win for them. Sabres over the Penguins 4-3 in overtime. Brutal loss for Pittsburgh despite getting a point. Flyers over the Devils 6-3. Capitals over the Islanders 3-1. Letdown for the Islanders after the John Tavares return game. Predictable. Hurricanes over the Blues 5-2. A humongous win for Carolina to keep themselves in a playoff position in the Eastern Conference. That's awesome for Carolina, by the way. They're third in the Metro, and Columbus is down to the last wildcard spot. That's insane. And now, obviously, Islanders and Capitals tied for first place in the Metropolitan Division. The Jets defeat the Predators 5-3, a much-needed win for Winnipeg. Golden Knights over the Ducks 3-0. Sharks over the Avalanche 4-3. Today's games, 1 o'clock, the Oilers at the Blue Jackets. 4 o'clock, the Blackhawks at the Kings. 7 o'clock, the Devils at the Bruins. The Sabres at the Maple Leafs. The Penguins at the Canadiens. The Senators at the Lightning. The Hurricanes at the Panthers. 8 o'clock, the Stars at the Blues. The Red Wings at the Coyotes. And 10 o'clock, the Wild at the Flames. Spring training. The Twins beat the Red Sox 4-3. Of notable things, Sandy Leon homers, Eddie Rosario homers, Byron Buxton homers. Pitching for Boston, nobody really of note. Pitching for Minnesota, Michael Pineda. 2 innings, a hit, no earned runs, no walks, and a strikeout. Addison Reed pitched an inning. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and no strikeout. The Mets defeat the Tigers 7-1. Amed Rosario home run. Devin Mesoraco home run. Jacob deGrom pitched. Looked like Jacob deGrom. 3 innings, a hit, and 4 strikeouts. And Tyson Ross goes for the Tigers. 2 innings straight, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and a strikeout. So not a good outing for him. Phillies over the Pirates 7-3. Among notable things, RBI single Nick Williams. JT Realmuto homers. Pitching for Philly, Juan Nicasio pitched an inning, clean one. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, Nick Kingham, 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and a walk, so not a good outing for him. Braves over the Blue Jays 4-3. Among notable things, Yeldes Gurriel Jr. homers. Pitching was Sean Reed Foley, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, so not a good game for him. Bryce Wilson for Atlanta, 2/3 of an inning, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, and a strikeout, so not a good day for him either. Nationals over the Marlins 5-4. Yan Gomes homers, Brian Dozier homers, Michael A. Taylor homers, Victor Robles homers. Pitching with Steven Strasburg, 2 innings, a hit, and 2 strikeouts, so he looked like himself. Trevor Richards of Miami, 3 innings, a hit, and earned run, 2 walks, and a strikeout. 3 strikeouts. I misread that. Rays over Orioles 10-5, so the Orioles have a split squad. Charlie Morton gets a win, an inning and a third, and a strikeout. Alex Cobb, 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, and a walk against his former team. G-Man Choi RBI single. Chance Sisco homered. Austin Meadows homered. Pirates and Blue Jays tied at 1. Nothing really special in this game. Aaron Sanchez pitched, though, 2 innings, a strikeout, and a walk. White Sox over the Rangers 8-5. RBI triple by Leody Garcia. That's pretty cool. Ivan Nova pitched for the White Sox, 2 2/3 innings, a hit, an earned run. Shelby Miller for Texas, an inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, and a walk. Athletics over Rockies 6-3. Ryan McMahon homered. Jurickson Profar homered. Ryan Hampson homered. John Gray pitched very well, 3 innings and 3 strikeouts. And no hits and no runs, obviously. The Cubs defeat the Diamondbacks 10-2. Robbie Ray pitched for the Diamondbacks, 2 2/3 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Jose Quintana of the Cubs pitched pretty well, 2 innings, a hit, and a strikeout. Tyler Chatwood pitched 3 innings, 3 hits, and 3 strikeouts. Angels over the Royals 10-7. Roland Mondesi Jr. hit a home run. Adalberto. Daniel Face homered for the Angels. He's a hot prospect. Jorge Soler homered of the Royals. Brian Flynn pitched for the Royals, an inning and 2/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. The Mariners defeat the Brewers 7-3. Mitch Haniger and Domingo Santana homered in this game, as well as Hernan Perez and Corey Spagenberg. Corbin Burns an inning and a third, 6 hits, 5 runs, a walk, and a strikeout. Justice Sheffield, 2 innings, a hit, no earned run, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Astros Cardinals tied at 4. RBI double Carlos Correa. Tyler O'Neill homer. John Gant pitched 3 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, and a strikeout. Framber Valdez of the Astros pitched an inning and a third, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks. Indians over the Dodgers 8-4. Ross Stripling pitched for the Dodgers, 2 innings, 2 hits, and 3 strikeouts. A.J. Cole pitched for the Indians, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Padres over the Dodgers 5-4. Jacob Nix pitched 2 2/3 innings, a hit and earned run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Hajian Ryu pitched in the Dodgers split squad, 2 innings, 2 hits, and 2 strikeouts. Yankees and Orioles tied at 2. Andrew Suzak and Austin Hayes homered for Baltimore. James Paxton pitched for the Yankees, 2 hits, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And last but not least, Giants over the Reds 5-3. Jesse Winker homered to right, Phillip Ervin homered. Tyler Mahle, 2 innings, 2 hits, and 4 strikeouts for Cincy. And for San Francisco, Madison Bumgarner, 3 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, and 5 strikeouts. He's had somewhat of a poor spring so far. And it's kind of getting worse for the Giants. There's a story out there that the CEO of the San Francisco Giants, Larry Baer, knocked down his wife during an argument, and TMZ got a video of it, and it was ugly, and it's unknown whether there'll be a penalty or suspension for Baer, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. And it was earlier today with the fight took place. And obviously it showed him and his wife having the altercation, a fight over his cell phone at a San Francisco park. In the video, Baer's wife, Pam, screams, "Oh my God, no," while falling to the ground as Baer attempted to take the cell phone from her. And the video also showed Baer holding that cell phone while walking away. This is pretty ugly stuff if you're the San Francisco Giants, and I wonder if indeed he's going to get suspended or punished by the league for that. And I want to talk about Bryce Harper to the Phillies because I didn't get a chance to talk about it on yesterday's podcast, obviously. 13 years, $330 million. Great signing for the Phillies. That caps off what was now officially a successful offseason for them. They had to get Harper or Machado for me for their offseason to be considered a success no matter what else they did. They spent stupid money. The owner lived up to what he said, and they spent a lot of it on Harper, some of it on Andrew McCutchen, and heck, he might not be done. Craig Kimbrell, Dallas Keuchel. I think that Keuchel in Philadelphia would be a great fit. Kimbrell might be in the NL East, but could be Atlanta. I could see as a front runner for him. And obviously, great signing. I think this obviously puts the Phillies in a great position going forward. They have a new face of the franchise. Him and Rhys Hoskins are just going to mash. I wonder who's going to have more home runs combined, Harper and Hoskins or Judge and Stanton in terms of a duo. And I think those are obviously the best two candidates for that. Phillies World Series odds went up in light of it. Harper's the NL MVP favorite, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pick him or not. I'm leaning towards no because he obviously hasn't even reported the Clearwater yet as far as I'm concerned. He obviously has to do that. So I won't be shocked if he has a poor start to the season because he doesn't get the full spring training. Like last year, JD Martinez got off to a bit of a slow start, but he made up for it by getting hot later in the season. And he obviously helped the Red Sox win the World Series this past season. So obviously, this is the biggest move made in the NL East this offseason with Harper going from Washington to Philly. And perhaps the biggest move any team has made this offseason, with the runner-up being Machado to San Diego. And the Phillies made one other big move that I think is going to help them a lot. Obviously, the trading for JT Realmuto. And the trading for Gene Segura helped them too. He's a good player, but not a great player. And Realmuto is somebody who I think's power numbers will go up for playing in Philadelphia rather than Miami. And now, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Obviously going to do a moneyline parlay with a lot of the big favorites in college basketball tomorrow. And there's a lot of big ones because there's a lot of superior teams playing inferior teams as there are each and every Saturday. I lost mine from yesterday because Dayton lost in overtime to Rhode Island. And without further ado, we'll go Bucknell over Army, Davidson over Fordham, UMBC over New Hampshire, Furman over Chattanooga. Don't feel good about that one, though, but I'll go with it anyway. Purdue over Ohio State, Virginia over Pitt, Oklahoma over West Virginia, New Mexico State over Chicago State, Duke over Miami, Charleston over UNC Wilmington, East Tennessee State over Western Carolina, Georgia Southern over Arkansas State, Southeast Louisiana over Northwestern State, and last but not least, South Dakota State over Western Illinois. That brings me to about a plus 231, wagering $1 with a payout of $3.31. Moneyline picks, where I pick an underdog to win outright. I was wrong with mine yesterday. I took the Lakers, and they lost to the Bucks. It was close, but that final score I listed before, it was a lot closer than the score indicated. So I'm going to go with two. I'm going to go with a college basketball money line, and I'll go with an NBA one. College basketball, let's go with... Utah State's only a 1.5 underdog. I'll go with a bigger dog than that. How about... You know what? I said before that I thought St. Joe's would win, but LaSalle would cover. Let's change that pick. I'm going to take LaSalle to win outright over St. Joe's on the road. I just don't like how St. Joe's has played, and LaSalle's quietly hovering 500 in conference play. So let's go with LaSalle. And in the NBA tomorrow night, Philly would have been an obvious pick had Golden State not lost their last two games. So let's go. I want to take Orlando again, but I could see a letdown game in Indiana, so I'm going to avoid them. The Cavs are interested against the Pistons. The Suns against the Lakers. That would be something if the Lakers lost to the Suns. Oh, there's an easy one on the board. Oklahoma City's a 4-point underdog at San Antonio. I'm taking the Thunder at San Antonio as my moneyline pick, upset pick of the NBA. So Oklahoma City on the road at San Antonio is my upset pick. That's a really good one. So that's it for today. I'll be back Monday recapping everything from the weekend with all the sports. Looking ahead to Monday's slate of games, I'll have an activity. Maybe my reliever list will finally come out because that's a hard one to do. And obviously the conference tournaments begin on Monday, so I may or may not be coming out with separate podcasts to preview those and pick those. Or I might just do it on the daily podcast. You'll find out on Monday. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.